July 4th, 2014. Happy Independence Day, everyone. We're looking at the latest SETI-A still images. They're not on the SETI satellite page as far as movies yet. They're in the last three still images. We'll have these in a MPEG format in about 2 or 3 days. That's how long it takes them to process them. But what we got, it looks like, is Comet Jacques. Again, 3 still frames starting at the bottom as it comes into A. And it matches with the JPLs. I'm impressed at the size of this comet. We've seen it from far away on the different satellites. But it's at its close approach to A, and you notice Venus is to the top left. That's the way it's moving. The tail's blowing back from the sun, which is where the orange square is. But there's Venus in the middle of that line that you see dissecting. Again, when these images are processed, this will be much clearer, and we've seen it with the other comets. But I think this is what we're dealing with. We've been watching it for a couple months. C24E2 Jacques. It's going to come up. Today's the 4th. Notice bottom right on the timestamp. And on the 9th, it's going to come right in front of Venus, right in its orbit, and then come up through the ecliptic. We should be getting some good pictures. Now, tomorrow night, since we're talking about 4th of July, and we might as well talk about some more fireworks, is the Vesta and Ceres, which are basically minor planets, will be very close together and will be visible with binoculars and telescopes. It says for the past few months, 2 of the biggest and brightest asteroids, 1 Ceres and 4 Vesta, have been gliding in parallel just 2 or 3 degrees apart in eastern Virgo. They've been visible in binoculars all the time and gradually drawing closer together in the sky. And their weeks this week their months-long dance reaches its peak as the king and queen of the asteroid belt appear to embrace closer than anyone has ever seen them. They'll appear just 10 arc minutes apart, a third of the moon's apparent diameter, on the evenings of July 4th and 5th in the Americas, July 5th and 6th Universal Time. They will remain near one another for the next few weeks, separated by 2.2 degrees on August 1st and 5 degrees on September 1st. It says Mars and the star Spiker are your starting points. As shown in the wide field chart below, this planet-star pairing has been tightening as well. They're 5.5 degrees apart on July 1st and just 1.3 degrees apart on July 13th. Now, talking about fireworks in the 4th, I want to go back to last year on February the 15th. This was in Russia, and that's the meteor that came in, the meteorite. In this frame, there's a secondary explosion. It's already hit the atmosphere. You can see it streaking on through. But it came in at such an angle that it generated megatons of explosive power. Now, I want to talk about it. They've done some data and did a model on this thing. But what you're seeing in the middle of at the very top where the screen's cut off is a roll. I'm going to play it again, but it starts to expand and roll out almost like a nuclear cloud. That's how powerful this thing was. And I want to look at a ground-based webcam inside a building or 2 buildings with the same time frame. And this all goes back to what God told Job about what he has in store. And we've read this in the Old Testament too, when hailstorms from heaven destroyed God's enemies. But check this out. Again, in the top, as it's starting to fade, you can see it start to roll right in the last few frames. It's very important. They took that data and made a model. Now look at the timestamp, 9:22:3. These guys were getting off work. I'm going to play this through. Or going on break or something. We're walking out this building, 22:39. Notice that timestamp. This is when that explosion hit. It took it a minute or 2 to go from where it hit the atmosphere to the ground. Notice the wall is already buckling. It's coming down. Notice the timestamp. It went 1 second. These, I'm not sure what they are. They may have been blown through an upper window. Check that out. Not sure what that was. At 22:40, 1 second, this thing was done. 4,000 buildings took hits like this. 1,200 people were put in the hospital. There were no deaths reported that I know of. Now, there may have been several heart attacks that they didn't blame on this, and I think I did hear about some of those. But this is another webcam view. And guys, it just shows you who's in control. No matter how much suppression comes on God's people, in a moment he can take down any enemy. 4,000 Russian buildings just like that. It's a heads up. Be safe.